Gonna start right now. We are starting right now. We are live. I'm Lynn Serrano,
About
and you
messed
are.
up there, Chickaboom.
Cheryl was at it again. She answering the phone right before the show. So, anyways, we have an interesting topic today, and it's mind at the moment. And boy, we got a lot of moments on our minds. So we'll be right back after this. Welcome back, Cheryl. I love the Lynn and Cheryl show. How are you today, Cheryl?
Can we qualify we're vertical? My mind is jumping from moment to moment. I had right before the show, as you know, I had my computer said, I'm done. Its mind ran out, I guess. So it had to reboot. So I guess somewhere today, my mind is going to have to totally reboot.
Well, I love that that kind of happened. Oh, today would have been my brother's 62nd birthday. This is my brother's widow. And so, Jules, I'm so grateful you're here. I love you. I will call you later and we'll see about celebrating Mark's birthday. And so, thank you for being here. I love you very much. So, yeah, our mind is an amazing thing. I just recently, after 2 years being off from my hotel job, I've gone back 2 years and 1 month. And they had gotten a computer system that I just learned before I left. I mean, literally, like it wasn't like it was new. So I was like, all right, and going through updates. So I was like, all right. So, it was one of those things where you realize that when am I going to remember, or if you take a test or anything, you're studying for something, it's like, am I going to remember what I need to remember? Or how is this? One thing you got to realize is you can't panic. You can't go ahead and be concerned about what you don't know. You need to relax and ask yourself the question, what is it that I can remember? And give yourself ask the right questions and then see what comes to you. And it's funny because your muscles have memory. Your brain has memories that are automatic. And so it's funny because like the code for the keypad, I was like, I was ready to touch a different number, but I noticed it was a different number. And so where I was touching, that used to be the number, but they changed it one time. So, but it's amazing how we remember things as long as we don't panic. And I want to say hello to our other little co-host of mine, Debbie, which we have some exciting news to share, I think, tomorrow about that. So thanks for being here, Debbie. So what's your thoughts on this, Cheryl?
This is Cheryl.
See, memory.
Hey, Debbie, she's got us all mixed up. I guess we look so much alike. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, um, I find out mine is not just the question. Mine's the memory at 3 o'clock in the morning when you sit up and straight up. Oh yeah, that's what it was. A lot of mine hit either after I've gone to bed or when I'm an hour or two after I'm trying, especially somebody's name. And you're sitting there and you're trying to think of it. The best thing I can do is forget about it. And if I forget about it, usually it finds it somewhere. You've got to remember, mine's got several years on you, so it's got a lot more junk up there than
Yeah,
yours.
it's got a lot of data. We take a lot. We take 10,000. I mean, we take a lot of information in during the day. And Debbie came and says, I'm obsessed with you, Cheryl. So major compliment. I'm horrible with remembering names. Well, that's the thing I'm learning with neural linguistic and programming, and it's just and hypnotists and all that other stuff. It really is amazing how you forget that your brain has all the answers up there subconsciously. We remember things. If we ask the right question, and then let it go, it'll come to you.
Mhm.
And but we don't realize that we just panic. And it's I only compare it to like looking for your keys or something. And like we said before the show, we were talking a little bit about how you sometimes have to retrace where were you anchored? Where were you anchored in the memory? Because you can program yourself to remember things at certain times. So it's really interesting. Neuroscience has become something I'm really, really enjoying. and I'm enjoying stuff like because of Rex Sykes and his. I mean, I'm learning and breaking the habits of being yourself with Dr. Joe Dispenza. It's just a lot of science stuff that really is. There's hi Sandy, thanks for being here. There's just so much to know that if we would just trust our brain and to know that we can reprogram it anytime we want to different things. It's amazing.
It's like people say that you don't know what you don't know. You might be surprised what you know if you just let your mind think about it, because we know everything we've heard. And I don't know about you, Lynn, but that's like sitting in a class somewhere, like we're never in those. You're sitting in a class and they say something, and as soon as the class is over, you're trying to remember everything. It comes back hours later, or it may only come back when you need it.
Yep. And this is Scott's ATC network, his show or the addiction. Oh, Scott, you need to write it out for me. I just messed that up. So yeah. And then here Sandy says she agrees with you, Sheryl. But
See, I know she's a smart lady now.
Sandy is. She sure is. And that's the thing we forget neuroscience is we have all the answers we need. We visualize everything. And just like with the 5-second rule that Mel Robbins has, if you do what comes up to you within 5 seconds, you actually visualize it before you do it. And so, yeah, the addiction training center. Sorry, Scott. Yes, that's what
That's
he.
her mind. Just,
Yes,
I'll feel that. She would have
all
done
over the
it that way.
place. And we just did a show last night. So yeah. But again, and it's okay to tell your mind, oh, I don't remember that right now. Can you, trigger that, or can you remind me of that? And it's hi Tim. We have some really awesome people on here from Texas. Oh, glad you're here. So, it's really important to say, give grace to your brain. Your brain will remember what it needs to remember. But remember when you were in school, and like for me, I always relied on my photographic memory. Like before a test, I'd look at the spelling words, and remember how it was written out, and then go back in my brain and try to like copying what I see on my brain, to write it down. That's how it worked for me anyways.
I'd always just repeat stuff. I mean, like spelling.
Mhm.
I'd spell it 3 or 4 times and out loud. And that right there, I think, is the way it needs to be. You have to say it out loud. And if you do it, you see it in your brain, but if you say it out loud, it becomes something. And
Mhm.
so I used to do it that way. I mean, when I do a program that I'm a little, what's the word? I mean, I can jump on here and fly by the seat of my pants, but if I've got to do something that's very precise, I will literally put my cell phone camera and read my program to me,
Oh, there you go.
or as close as my notes. I'll do it that way, and it kind of sticks, and that way you don't have to have them.
Yeah. And I mean, there's just so many different things it can do that help, including like using a calendar or an alarm on your phone to remember different things. And
And Debbie's right. Writing something down gives you a 75% more chance of remembering it. That's why we
Mhm.
that's why we try to get people to take notes in class when we're doing training, and do it with a pencil, not on a computer, because the memory is not as intact if you're typing it as it is if you're literally writing it out.
Yeah, you do. Well, the thing is you're using two different things. You're using your audible and you're using your visual, and you're using two different methods to balance your subconscious and your conscious mind. So that really does help. Whereas if you're relying just so much on the audible, you don't have anything, So yeah, it really does help. And so I love the fact that one thing that I know we want to say before we get too far is people forget that if you just remember that remembering whatever it doesn't matter because in a few minutes you'll forget it. Like you don't remember the presidents when you were younger or whatever, but you aced the, you aced it, you did it and whatnot. But you don't have to panic about that. You just know that the answers come when you need them. It really does.
I mean,
No,
the brain's so funny, Lynn. I mean, you know that I went through Alzheimer's with Jerry's stepmom.
mm-hmm.
And the best day in her life was when she forgot that she forgot. So
Oh,
she didn't get angry at herself, but she was an accomplished, I want to say pianist, but she could play it. If it had keys, if it had strings, she could play any instrument. And up till she was actually still playing the piano fluently, right, not long before she passed away. She never
oh.
forgot her music, and she always played by ear. I never saw the lady pick up a book. So even when the brain has past memory, there's still a lot of memories in there. And I know they work with these Alzheimer's patients and they say they can't remember, but is this going on in the back of their head? That's a good question when you're talking to the guy you're training under. Are these people actually having memories within inside themselves, even during Alzheimer's?
Oh, I believe so. I believe so. I think that I've had. Oh, let me see what did Debbie say here. That's incredible. Playing piano with Alzheimer's. Yep. Yeah, I saw a show with somebody like that, and I think the interview that they had with what's his name, Tony Bennett. That he I don't know if you got to see that, but you can his memory was off with his dementia or Alzheimer's,
Mhm.
and yet you put him by a piano and you started playing music and he didn't miss a beat.
Well, every Sunday, Lynn, you may get a chuckle out of this. Every Sunday was the same. You've got to imagine we had four in assisted living at one time, and she was able to stay with her husband even with her Alzheimer's instead of going to the memory unit. And so we'd go collect them, for lack of a better word, and bring them to the main center. And I always went and got Mary Iris because she would just go with me uncoaxed.
Oh,
And I would go back there and get her, and we'd walk down the hall, and the pianist sat in the main lobby. And I would look at her and I'd say, Mary Iris, go play me a song. And her first answer was, I don't play. I said, well, I'm tired. And this is every Sunday again, same words over and over. I would go over there and I'd say, I'm going to go over there and sit down on that bench. And so I'd go sit down. I said, if you're tired, come over here with me. And so she was a little petite woman. She'd hop up on the bench beside me and we'd say a dozen words about something. All of a sudden she'd flip around and then my hands would hit the keys and she would just start
oh,
playing. And it'd be like, what you want me to play? And I would have to grab a book and look at it. And somebody told me one day, they said, I didn't think she needed to have the music. I said, she doesn't. I need to have it to come up with the titles to tell her to play. I mean,
that's
it's remarkable. I look forward to it every Sunday.
oh, and you know what? I felt the same way, Debbie. I felt the chills her saying that. That was so sweet. So sweet. Yep. I think that, we got that memory muscle. And so I believe that when things, are practiced and known, I mean, just like, you drive to the store, you drive somewhere you're familiar with. Did you literally remember going from one place to another? You
Have you
just did
ever
it.
gotten somewhere and hypothetically somewhere in the back of your mind wondered how you got there?
Yeah, I've done
Because
that.
I mean, you were paying attention or you wouldn't have got there because you're
Ro-
going through major traffic. But you get there and it's like, um, almost like
Yeah.
there was a time span missing. Not
Yes.
sure that's good or bad, okay, but
No, but that's
it
the thing
happens.
is that's the thing, like, if you even think about when you're driving on the highway, you're like, "How do I know to turn the car at this corner?" Like, when you've got it, you've got it. Just like after you learn how to ride a bike, you say to yourself, how do I know how to still balance after all these years? And I gained a few extra pounds. How do I know? You just know. It's an amazing thing. And there's been a lot of studies with the neuroscience of that and knowing that if we would just know that if we ask the right questions, we'll get the answers, and not stressing. And sometimes I think because our mind is trying to protect us, sometimes we don't know the answer to something, and I believe that we're not supposed to answer it or not know it right that minute. That's how at least that's how I control myself from being too much worried if I don't remember something when I'm supposed to.
You get more worried as you get older. Let me track it because it's kind of like, Emma, what are you doing? But yeah, you can't, if you get stressed, then you
Yeah,
really can't, you can't not only think about that, but you can't think about the next thing. And
right.
I think that's where a lot of, and I'm going to use the word older people, and it's not always older people.
Mhm.
It's just people who are very prone to get stressed. Once they have that first little memory, I'm going to call it memory loss, which it's not a memory moment. It freaks them out so that they get so emotional they can't think at all.
Yeah.
And
I,
so just sit back, take a breath, and realize maybe you don't need your keys right at that moment.
yeah, yeah, that's exactly right. Don't even worry about it. I used to stress about not knowing things right away, but I have in the last 2 days give myself some grace and say, "Wait, what do I know and what if I don't know?" And knowing that it's okay if you don't know is half the battle.
If it's
So,
that important, write it down.
that's right.
Problem is,
Absolutely.
I put the sticky notes where I can't find them. So
In a safe place.
in a safe place. I have a lot of things in safe places. Okay. The bad part is, as soon as you find them, it's like
Too late.
I remembered exactly when I put you here and why
Right?
I put you here.
Well, do you have any closing comments before we leave?
Yeah, give it up, people. It's the way life is. Enjoy what memory you have. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah.
And enjoy the moments. Don't stress out so much.
Yeah. Shift your mind so that it's okay to be the way you are when you're at. And let me see what Debbie says. Yes, maybe we don't need those keys in that minute, our moment. Yep. Yep. Give it up, people. I can hear her voice too, can you? Give it up, people. On that note, I think we're going to say goodbye for now. And thank you for being here. And we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye, Cheryl.
Bye, guys.